Welcome back, people. I'm Double Six and welcome to my channel, Money, Cars, Women and Children. In this series, I'm calling the Black Families Matter. I've been discussing family matters with my children and how to navigate and circumvent the family court system. So stay tuned and I'll give you some information for episode 3, non-molestation orders, yeah? Stay tuned to the other side. So, it's Black Families Matter, episode 3, and this is all about non-molestation orders. I'm taking you through my personal family trials where I've had to battle the family court system. I've given you some intros, episode 1, episode 2. Now I'm getting into the weeds of how the system tried to break up a black family, break up a successful black family, and it all starts with the non-molestation order. I've explained to you how my family we broke down, we split up with Pam, had 2 children with Pam, 2 sons, son 1, son 2. We were on the rocks for kind of like a year. Then we actually split up November 2017, actually moved out. One moved out. So we were separated. That was November 2017. I was just going through the motions, kind of just trying to navigate the children now. Like, when can I see the kids? When am I gonna have them? When are you gonna have them? What kind of money do you want? You know, what kind of support do you want? I remember one of the key things after the breakup, so we break up November 2017, kind of like December, January, we were trying to discuss like maintenance, child maintenance, you know, how much money I should pay for the privilege of you choosing to leave the relationship and raise my children. Like, how much should I pay you for the privilege of your choices? And I remember Pam sent me a text message and it was something like, my rent is like £900. Food shopping is £400. The kids' little activities and things cost £200. Her car insurance is £100. Petrol, fuel. She put down all of her expenses. Yeah, boom, 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 boom. And it come to, let's say, £2,000 outgoings. Come to £2,000. I can't remember the exact figure. And then she said, so your half is £1,000. So that's what I need from you every month. And I said to her, whoa. So let me tell you something, yeah? You've chosen to leave the relationship, right? You chose to do that. I didn't ask you to leave the relationship. I wanted to stay in the relationship and maintain the relationship and be a father to my children inside a relationship. She chose to leave, yeah? And I'm like, why is it my business to pay half of all your bills? I said to her. I said, listen, I'll pay half of the children's bills, yeah? So parcel out whatever the costs are for the children and I'll pay half those bills because you still want to be half the boss of those children. So I'll pay half the children's bills. I'm not paying half of your bills because you decided to leave the relationship. Who told me to tell her that? You see, from then, I kind of didn't get no response from her. Trying to get the kids, not getting no response from her. Trying to pick up the kids, not getting no response from her. Communication completely broke down. So we kind of broke up. Wasn't really a harsh breakup, but after when she couldn't get the money that she wanted, that is when communication broke down. So you know that a lot of these women are about the P and they need the support. Nothing wrong with needing support, but don't make choices for me. You shouldn't be making choices that I have to pay for. Like, we should be making those choices. Yeah, if we think it's best that we live in separate houses for whatever reason, then we have to make that decision and then I will support that decision. But if you choose it's best for you to go and live in a separate house, that's your choice. So I shouldn't have to pay for your choices. She wanted a bag of money and I was like, nah, I'm not doing it because I'm not paying for your choices. So little more the communication broke down. About a month later, I get a call from a cousin that I know. And he's like, oh, I need to meet you. I'm like, what for? Oh, I just need to meet you. I just need to see you. I just need to meet you. So I'm like, what for? Oh, when I see you, I'll tell you. I'm like, listen, I don't do no ambush meeting. I'm not interested in no ambush meeting. So I'm like, whatever you want to meet me about, tell me what you want to meet me about prior to me going to meet you. Like, tell me you need help to do something. Tell me you want my advice. Tell me you can't talk over the phone, but it's something that you need help with. Yeah, like, tell me so I know. I don't do ambush meeting. And I never really heard from this cousin before. Like, I just know him through the family, but he's never really directly called me. So the fact that we've just broken up with his cousin Pam, and he's calling me like, oh, he needs to meet me. And then he's saying, oh, when are you home? And I'm like, what do you mean when am I home? I'm home when I'm home and I'm home when I'm not. He's like, well, let me know when you're home. So I didn't let him know. He's beating around the bush. Then about 10 o'clock at night, he's like, are you home yet? Are you home yet so I can come and see you? So I know something's up. So I'm like, listen, yeah, I don't know. I'm not meeting this man because I don't do no ambush, right? So a little more from that, about 2 days later, something's in my letterbox. Boom, it's a letter. First official piece of paperwork now in this episode 3, yeah? First official paperwork what dropped on me. And that was a court application to go to court. It just vague. You've been summoned to come to court on, I don't know what it was, 31st of March at 10 a.m. That's all it says, right? And it gives the applicant Pam. So you're like, rah, what's this for? It's got to be something to do with the children, obviously, innit? Because we've just broken up, so it's something to do with the children. So I'm like, all right, no problem. Rock up to court. Pam's there in the lobby. So I'm like, rah. Pam ain't saying nothing to me. Not saying nothing. Eyes cut the other way, walk past me, butt past me. Woman that I've been in the same bed with for 15 years. Walk past you like a stranger. Like she don't even know you. That's when your heart is sinking now. Because you're like, rah, you even done this woman nothing. For her to treat you like that, treat you like a stranger. But boy, you're in the family court system now. You're in the court. Court calls you, you go into the courtroom, judge is there. First time you see a judge, I'm in my work clothes, yeah? High-vis jacket, work clothes. Judge tells you, do you know why you're here? I'm like, no, Your Honor, I don't know why I'm here. I've just got a letter to turn up at 10 o'clock. He's like, well, you're here for a non-molestation order non-molestation order application. So first of all, I'm like, what is a non-molestation order? I'm thinking molestation, like child, and that word, like some kind of kiddie business. I'm like, non-molestation, like I don't molest nobody. But he's like, no, calm down. It's just like between two partners. So I'm like, I'd have never heard of a non-molestation order. I don't even know what it is. So he's like, okay. So he says to Pam, has he seen the evidence? So Pam's like, no. So the judge is like, okay, give him your application. And he's like, Mr. Six, you can go outside and read the evidence for 15 minutes and come back. So I'm like, 15 minutes to read evidence. But I'm like, okay, just see what this goes. So I go outside, I go into the cafeteria, I read the evidence. Boom! That's when I know that this woman is the enemy now. Like, this woman is the enemy. When I read the evidence and I read 5-page written statement of lies. Lies. 5-page written statement of lies. Maybe 4 pages of lies. Maybe 1 page truth. Yeah, But, just niggling rubbish. Just complaints. Like 5 pages of complaints of over a 15-year relationship. It was like 5 pages of whinging and whining and complaining and why everything was not fair and why me. There was no meat on the bones for me. I didn't see no form of abuse in there. I just saw 5 pages of complaints. So you go through the hearing and Pam is saying the reasons why basically she doesn't want you to doesn't want me to go anywhere near her or see the children. So I'm like, and not even see the children. I'm like, where's all this coming from? Like, you're just, as a man, you're in a state of shock because she's ahead of the game. You're in an environment that you're possibly not familiar with, reading evidence, reading commentary about your personal life. And man are private individuals too. That's why for me to come on this platform, it's been very difficult for me, to actually come and share my story. But I realize that I have to share this story with people because other men have to benefit, even other women have to benefit to realize the mistakes that the system can push you through that can mash up your family in the longer term. So I'm in there and he reads the evidence, she reads the evidence, and the judge is like, yeah, so I'm gonna grant. He hears me basically say, I don't know what this is. I have no idea why I'm here. I don't agree with nothing she's saying. Everything she's saying is not true. That's the only evidence I can offer just standing here orally. She's got all of her paperwork, bam. So he's like, yeah, I'm gonna grant the non-molestation order. So he reads out the non-molestation order and he's like, I'm granting this order for 6 months. I don't want you to threaten Pam. I don't want you to intimidate Pam. I don't want you to make any violent statements towards her. I don't want you to basically do anything to harm her or make her feel unsafe. And I was like, that's easy because I don't threaten her. I don't harm her. Never put my hand on her. Never troubled her. Never touched her. Don't threaten her because she's my children's mum. I don't see no mileage. And I'm not a woman bad man. My strength is not for women. So I don't threaten women and I don't do horrible things to make no woman feel unsafe because my energy, my strength is not for woman. My strength is for wicked, intolerant, nasty man, not woman. So I was like, I don't really mind then if you're giving me an order not to threaten her, because the way I saw it, I never threatened her ever in my life. So I was like, I can live with that. That's not difficult. So when she wanted the order now, and I get the order, I'm like, all right, as I said, I ain't making no bones about it. And I kind of just left the court. So when I skip now to what the kind of order looks like, this is a non-molestation order here. This is what you get in the post. I'm just moving so I can interact with it kind of here. This is what you get. So I'll just point. It's a non-molestation order. Doesn't see the date up there. I've kind of redacted the personal information. Applicant, which is Pam, the respondent, which is me. And it says the court has considered only the evidence of the applicant. Now, if you're watching this series, Black Families Matter, everything will start to tie together maybe towards episode 10, 11, 12, yeah? But you've got to look at these key points if you're a man that's gonna start going through this particular set of circumstances. So if you look at the first box, number 1, the court has considered only the evidence of the applicant. The court has made no finding of fact, and that is very important, that the court has considered only the evidence of the applicant, and the court has made no finding of fact. Very, 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 very key. And box 2, it starts to give me the conditions. I'm not to use or threaten any violence towards the applicant. I'm not to threaten, intimidate, harass, or verbally abuse the applicant in any way. So yada, 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 that's fine. Now, if I come out of that and go over to here, so way down the line now, I get disclosure of all the bits and pieces what the applicant has done. So this is like, a year and a half later, I find out the application, what was made against me for the non-molestation order. So this is the application that Pam put in to get the non-molestation order. Now, when you look, she's filled out all of the details, and then this is like, so this is the application form. Which one is it? Is it C1? No, it's an application for a non-molestation order. So she filled this out 14th of March 2018, yeah? So when you look down at the evidence here that she's put, so it's the applicant seeks an order for the respondent not to threaten, use any violence towards her. The respondent shall not undertake, pester, harass, or follow the applicant by way of, I don't know what that word is, and shall not instruct or encourage a third person to do so. So she's had some good help to write this, because this is court terminology what I wasn't even aware of, respondent, applicant, all that kind of stuff. I wasn't even aware of that. So I was behind the curve. She already had some kind of legal help to write this application. The respondent shall not damage or attempt to damage or threaten to damage property. The respondent shall not make any response to any part or intimidating or harass or threaten or something about just basically don't threaten, harass, completely not to threaten, harass her. The respondent shall not, but this is key to the men and women's thinking. What I explained to you in episode 1 and 2 was how not to, this is not a woman bashing episode, this is a system bashing episode, right? And I explained to you that when you break up, when men and women break up, long-term relationship, and the woman doesn't want to see you, she can't cope with seeing you, she's got to lock you off from the children, because if you're still there knocking the door, coming to see the children, being around her family, coming to see the children, she can't cope with seeing you, with dealing with you. You need to give her that space. But we as men, we're like, we want to see our kids. Kids deserve to see us. We want to see our children. We want to see Tommy, Freddie, son 1, son 2, Friday, Saturday, taking football. But you've got to slow down and give that woman space. These are some of the mistakes that I made. I was charging in to deal with the children, get the children back, see the children, when I should have just given that woman 6 months of breathing space, rather than not seeing my children for nearly 2 years. Maybe giving them 2-3 months of breathing space, just ease back. The children are young. They were young at the time. They were like 6 and 18 months. Yeah, they wouldn't have even noticed 6 months without their dad. I'm telling you. But it says here, the respondent, which would have been me, shall not enter or attempt to go within 100 meters of the following address. One address, which was her address where she lived, and the other address was the children's school address. Yeah. And then it says any other address regularly visited by the applicant, or any other property of which he or she is aware of the applicant is attending. So basically that means, yeah, she don't want to see my ass, yeah, nowhere. So she wants the court to stop me from going anywhere near her within 100 meters of anywhere that she frequently visits or anywhere that I even know her to be at. The judge didn't give that order because he was like, boy, it's only her evidence. I haven't heard the other respondents' evidence, so I can't grant an order so drastic that I can't go within 100 meters of anywhere where she might be because we lived and worked in the same borough. It was just ridiculous. And, basically that was trying to ban me from the children's school. So the judge didn't grant that part of the order, but, life, you can only understand life backwards, but we have to live it forwards. Yes, you can only understand life in retrospect, and hindsight is 20/20. And looking back at this application now, looking backwards after living it forwards, I can see she just didn't want me anywhere near her at all. It wasn't really the children. I was chasing the children. I wasn't really busy about the woman. Yeah, a woman wants to leave, she can leave later. You understand? I'm not really interested in that. Yeah, but I wanted to get access to my children, and this is where I should have slowed things down. I should have left that non-molestation order for 6 months and let that lapse. And I wouldn't have had no problems in what I was doing after that. I could have quietly just applied for a little child arrangements order myself after 6 months. Judge would have said, any problems with the non-mol order over the 6 months? I would have went in there and said, no, Your Honor, everything's clean bill of health. Yeah? But no, I was chasing the children. And this now is when the system hold my ass. This is when now you are in the system. When you get these orders, these court orders awarded against you. So from that non-molestation order, I don't know if you can see this clearly, but it is clear on my screen, but it's coming up a bit shady here. But basically, this is a schedule of arrests. The amount of times that I got nicked by 5-0, for this non-molestation order. I think here it's 11 separate arrests because these are all the Chris and CAD numbers for them. And I got arrested for attending the children's school and basically looking at my son's mum. I got arrested. They come, non-molestation order, kick down my door, not kick down my door, but beat down my door. And also I got arrested for smiling at the children's mum in the playground. And when I read the criminal complaint, it was smiling at me as if I can't do anything to touch, as if nobody can do anything to touch me. So it's like I was smirking at her and saying, you can't touch me while I'm at the children's school. So she had this non-molestation order. She picked up the phone, called the police and said I was smiling at her. And you know what? The police say, damn, the system says we've got to arrest this man. We've got to go get him. We've got to put him through the system. So, I was arrested. I think there's 11 separate incidents on here, but I got arrested another 2 times in 2020 as well. I even got arrested when there was no non-molestation order, just because the police thought there was a non-molestation order because they looked on the system and saw I got arrested so many times with regard to having a non-molestation order that they even thought there was a non-molestation order until I got to the police cell in there for like 14 hours. And then they're like, oh, sorry, we've arrested you by mistake because we thought there was a non-mol order, but there wasn't one. So, it's just an admin error. Sorry, mate, you're free to go after like 14 hours in the cells. So this causes a big problem. And if you find yourself being served with a non-molestation order, you know what I'd say? Don't even go court. Just get default judgment. Just let them write to you and say, based on the applicant's evidence, the non-molestation order was granted. Because there's no way, 99.9% of the time, the judge is going to grant the non-molestation order. It's very, very rarely that they give the undertaking where you can just walk out and you promise to be a good boy. The judges don't have the time for it in the family court system. They're like, the woman doesn't want you around. Let's see if you can behave yourself for 6 months. You're going to send a big message to the court if you can behave yourself for 6 months. And even if you can behave yourself, they still make you get nicked for sheggery, smiling at them in the children's playground. I'm going to go through some of the other arrests, what happened to me as well, later down in the episodes in a bit more detail. But I'm just going to show you, without the non-molestation order, I would not have got nicked not one time. Yeah, she could have picked up the phone, called police and said I smiled at her in the children's playground. The police operator would have put the phone down and told her, stop chatting rubbish because we'll arrest you for wasting police time. But once you have a non-molestation order and the person is reporting a breach of that non-molestation order, the police are duty bound to nick you. They don't show no common sense. They're not allowed to apply no common sense to it. They have to shift you, yeah? So when I look into it now, the advice on this episode, which, you know, is staring into the black hole of the abyss, is non-molestation orders. My advice to you, if I get served with a non-mol again, I'm not even going to turn up. I'm just going to get a default judgment. Seriously, like, this is not legal advice. This is my own personal advice, yeah? I will just get a default judgment and don't even let the judge get anywhere to know me or to know my temperament, and just stay away from her for the 6 months. If you get 3 month non-molestation, if it's like a year, I'd kind of challenge that. I'd deal with that. But if you see something come in the paperwork, some court paperwork come, and you see it's like 6 months, just stay away from her, stay away from the children. But it's hard. I know it's hard. But I'm telling you, yeah, you're gonna watch these series and you're gonna understand the complications that it led to when you get tied up in the system. And when the judge is giving you that non-mol, he's granting that non-mol to the applicant, he just wants to see where you're at. If you start going around there kicking off the door, kicking off her car, going to her workplace, stalking her, harassing her, then he's gonna be like, all right, I can see where this is going now. I can kind of see the temperament. I've given this man an order not to be able to stay away from her, you know. And in all honesty, if a non-mol is granted and the woman is reasonable, she shouldn't really be making false complaints to the police about you. But the system allows her to get away with it. So this is why I go back to the system being the problem. The system does not give any repercussions. The system doesn't want to handle victims harshly because it doesn't want to circumvent victims. The system does not want to make victims feel like if they come forward and make a complaint that something will happen to them. It doesn't want them to make them feel reluctant to make a complaint against someone. So the system doesn't treat them harshly. But that means that we have to be the victims, we the men. The men are the victims of people that abuse the system. And right now, there's no mechanism in place to give any repercussions for people that make false allegations to the police. Believe me, I tried. They're like, listen, we don't want to hear that. Our system does not allow us to focus on victim blaming. We cannot turn on the victim or the perceived victim. We can't do that. We're not allowed to do that. You just have to hold it and be steadfast and hold on to the two rails. That's why I say, man is a second-class citizen in this society. But in this situation, in this series, I'm going to show you how to turn things around, and I'm going to show you how to turn on the system. But my advice to you, watch out for these non-molestation orders, yeah? Watch out for them. Try to navigate them. I'm going to catch you on the other side for another episode, and I'm going to give you some more down low on how to navigate the system and beat the system in family matters, yeah? Stay tuned. 66. Peace out. Look 'em all.